Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And welcome back to another episode of Influencers Radio. You know, we all feel at times that we've taken on more than we can handle. You know, you would get too many plates spinning, and it really gets to the point where we feel something's got to give. You know, it's out of our control. It's, you know, chaos is the perfect word for it. And no one knows this more than busy working moms. You know, I think if there is a real life superheroes in this world, it is the moms, because I've seen it for the last 22 years of my life with my wife and kids, and I just don't know how it's done. Well, my guest today is Heather Steinker. She is the creator of Chaos and Cookies, where she helps busy mompreneurs stress less and save time through helpful tools and systems to increase productivity in their lives. Heather also teaches her clients to be more efficient in their homes or running their business by working smarter and not harder. With that, Heather, welcome to Influencers Radio.
Thank you for having me, Jack. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I am happy you are here because, you know, I run into moms a lot just in my life and over the years through sports and activities that I've often thought, wow, you know, how do they do this? You know, this is just really amazing. And, you know, I thought it was some kind of, you know, it's just born into them. It's something they have inside of them. And I think a lot of that is true. But when I really think about it, and once I found out about you and I started looking at what you're doing, you really found a way to lay this out and systematize it, you know, put it into something that makes sense to, you know, my goofy male brain. And all of a sudden I see, you know, there's a method to all this. And you really make it in a way that it not only helps, I think, you know, moms, but I think it also helps moms dumb it down for dads too. So that's what I really wanted to get into today. And I guess I'd like to start off with, you know, how did you discover this? Is this something that just naturally came to you, or is it something that, you know, some of those plates fell and you thought, I've got to fix this?
So a little bit of both. So I am a mom of 3 young ones. They're 7 and younger. And my husband, pre-pandemic, would travel every other week of the month for the most part. We've been together a long time and he's always traveled. So trying to juggle that with me working or me starting a business, it was just having to have to do all of that. But there's a lot of transition that comes with a husband coming in and out, and also just a lot of moving parts. And so when I needed some help, because I have a spinal condition where I couldn't physically do everything all the time. And sometimes, you know, turnover is high when it comes to bringing in the right person to help you with your children, and trying to not reinvent the wheel with a system to be like, this is what we do on a daily basis. These are the rules. This is how we do things, and really just create a kind of a training protocol almost to be like, this is, because it doesn't ever change based off the person that comes in. Because I am a regimented person. I feel like organization and routine helps just individuals strive, and also children. And so creating it that way to where it just makes everyone a little bit more self-sufficient and gives that security blanket to mom, because we worry as moms if our kids are okay, if someone's doing it the right way or the way that you deem fit. So kind of creating that kind of came off of an accident, I guess. And not everyone has organization skills. People just do it because that's their routine and that's what their nature, like second nature. But if you're bringing someone in to help you, you have to, they just don't like know. You have to help them understand it, because just because they do it one way and you don't do it that way. It's just like a communication almost, because with any relationship, communication is key.
Well, and I think of the big difference is, to me, I've always thought, or the way I've handled it, especially when I've been, alone for any length of time, responsible for the kids, and I don't want to seem like I'm just a complete bumbling idiot when it comes to it, but just about everything that I've done has been reactive. What am I going to react to today? Whereas, once I started looking at what you're doing, I thought, oh, all this stuff can really be proactive, or at least, planned for in a simple way. And I started looking at it the way I would, look at someone's business. And which I think is brilliant, you've kind of created something that I think of as a SOP, or, standard operating procedures that business would put into place for people. So they say, well, when this happens, here's what you do. If this happens, here's who you call. And, when I saw your family playbook, I thought, oh my gosh, this should be in every house that has kids, and even I'm sure some houses that don't have kids, because it is a playbook that you go to. Okay, this happened. Well, let me go look up. Here's what I do, or here's who I call. So tell us a little bit about that playbook and how that came to be, and the methods that you put behind creating this.
Sure. I mean, your home, at least when anyone's running a home or a household, it's like a business. I mean, it costs money to keep it up. You got a mortgage, or you have, utilities to pay for. So, I mean, so you have to keep it like a well-oiled machine. You have to make sure that there's maintenance for your, you want to make sure your AC works during the summer and your heat kicks on when it's, cold outside. You want to make sure that your plumbing is right so you don't have any floods. So it basically helps you run your home like a well-oiled machine in a business, and being planning ahead. Just like in actual business, you got to keep up with the books and budget. I mean, you have a budget for your household as well. So why not have that somewhere to reference? Why not have that somewhere to make it accessible in case of an emergency? And with this playbook, it's 188 pages. So it's a big thing. And I made it to where moms, when we go out of town, or even just go out to dinner with a friend and we're leaving, or even if you don't have children, you have pets, or someone's watching your home, you write them a set of instructions. You give them information on where you're going to be, where they can reach you, the phone number, who your next door neighbor is, and maybe they have a key in case of an emergency. All of these systems that you are putting into place for people that can help. And so most of the time you write these lists down, and then you either put it away and you lose it and you have to write it again. Maybe you throw it away, it gets lost, or things change. So I made it to where it's a PDF where you can go in and create all the information on your computer, or you can print it out and write it down. But if those things change or you lose it, you can just print it out and just have it. So you're saving some time. You're not reinventing the wheel, and you can go in and just change a little bit about it and not have to buy a whole new, notebook or something. There's financial information in there. My husband runs our finances. And if something were to happen, because I'm doom and gloom, right? Being proactive and not reactive, because it's so much less stressful when you're preparing and having things in place than reacting. And it's like, well, if we have an income property and rent is due and there's a tenant and something were to happen and I didn't know, rent still has to be paid, bills still have to be met. And if you don't have that information, trying to find it could be stressful. You could miss something and create a bigger problem. I mean, you can't control what you can't control, right? So this playbook has literally everything from pets to finances to medication, quick reference guides. So it's just super easy. You have a daddy guide in there that's they like Cliff Notes. Your dad, just give me the quick snips of what I need to do. I don't need the the whole novel. But then the moms like to know everything, and it just kind of depends on the person that you are.
Well, yeah. And just amazing to me that, we rely on people, our spouse, and I think both ways, but a lot of times both spouses have their own jobs that we've just kind of naturally taken on. And the stuff that's in our heads that we have to go retrieve. I mean, I think the only thing I might be good for is to be able to, I could tell you what size the air filters are that I need to change, right?
But somewhat like if you know that, but your wife might not know. So, what if she has to go change them? Where are they? What size do I need to go buy? How often do I need to? Or does someone do it for us? All those questions. Because it's just like, well, Jack does it. Well, what does that mean if Jack's not here? It has to be done.
And just the valuable, because that really is when it comes to simplifying. And I think removing chaos, it's not just, a lot of people think, oh, I got to figure out how to do less. I got to get rid of some of these plates. I got to stop doing this. But I think, what you're able to do is to kind of open people's eyes that no, you can manage this, but it really is about just creating a system rather than getting rid of stuff that we can't do this. I think, yeah. And I think for moms, especially, one of the things that you do really well is establishing or helping people to establish boundaries. And I think even as a dad, it was always tough for me growing up with kids. Hey, Dad, can we go play catch? And, I can tell you now that my kids are grown, I can probably regret every moment that I had to say, no, I can't do that right now because I got to do this. Right. And, but there's time for those kind of boundaries. And there's a way to do it to where you don't necessarily, neglect the things that are important to you completely. Can you talk a little bit about that, about, how you establish that time and place for things, especially when you have, kids and have so many things going?
Sure. And I think with this past year, with everyone being under the one roof, right? You've got now all parties, most of them are working from home, and your kids are at school under your home. And the time that we would get our things done while they were at school or maybe at sports or whatnot, we had to do in front of our children. We had to do it in front of our spouse. And so setting expectations of, this is what I do when you're at school. My kids would come home and be like, I don't want you to go in your office and work. And I would have to explain, these are the times that you're in school, like you're at your job, like you're doing it. But now that you're here, you still have these responsibilities, but you're just here. Mommy still has to do what she needs to do. And then when this time comes, that's when we're freed up. And so it shows them that, okay, there's jobs in place, like money makes the world go around. Mommy has a job to do. I have a job to do. And also having the flexibility of like, okay, I can put this aside for a minute, because you always do like to have a little bit of flexibility, depending on maybe that your child really needs you at that moment, and kind of prioritizing. But it models responsibility for your kids, and it sets expectations like, okay, mommy's going to do this now. I put signs on my door because they're young and some of them, they can't really read. One can, and one is learning, but my preschooler can't read, but he knows what colors mean. So if I have like a red sign, it sets the expectation like, stop, don't come in here, mommy can't be bothered. And then if I have it on green, they know that they can knock and come in. So having some sort of communication where it's setting expectation and explaining to them why it's important. But then also you have to hold yourself accountable and know that if it's say 4:00, I cut myself at 4:00, you block your calendar off, you don't allow anyone to schedule you, you turn your phone on silent, and then you're like from 4 to 6, it's my family's time and I can get back at it afterwards, unless, there's a one-off. But trying to really set that separation up, it shows your kids the boundaries, and it also allows yourself to also have a boundary.
So it's not just about setting boundaries for others, it's about setting boundaries for yourself. And
Sure. I mean, self-care is huge right now because you have to take care of yourself in order to show up for others. And you also have to stay true to you as well. You know, moms typically give up themselves and what they want to put others in front. But then there's resentment, or they get stressed out, or they get really irritated, and it starts to come out on their children or their spouse. And being really mindful about, no, this is what I really need to show up, then setting those expectations for yourself. Like, nope, I can't take calls between this time and this time because I really need to meditate or go for my walk because it makes me happy. So then if you're happy, other people will feel that.
Well, yeah. And I think it's just the stress relief that I can imagine comes from planning and having a system just on its own can make a huge difference.
Sure, because mommy can't do everything. I mean, mommy tries to, or moms will just say, don't worry about it, I'll do it later. And I've learned recently that my kids are now, they like to help and stuff. So I've now said, like, hey, can you help me feed the dogs? They love that. And so it's off my plate. I showed him how to do it. Now he has a little job to do, and it gives him some responsibility. The dogs are getting fed and I don't have to do it. And just setting up, like, this is where the food is, this is where the bowls are. So I don't have to go find them every time he wants to help. He knows there's systems in place. He knows where to go, what to do, and when to do it. And so it's creating a habit and a system where he's not, hey, mom, how much does the dog get? Or where do I need to, where's the food? So it's making everyone a little bit more self-sufficient.
Well, I have to ask you a topic that I think probably has a lot of controversy in a way, but I think definitely different schools of thought is on multitasking. Mm-hmm. And I know for myself, it's just futile. It's something that I've tried for years, and it's really a whole bunch of stuff doesn't get done or doesn't get done well. But I've seen other people that are just really good at it. So what are your thoughts on multitasking? And is it for everyone, or are there certain methods that you apply to get the best out of what each individual is capable of?
Sure. I think that's a really great question, because multitasking is not something it can be learned to a point, but everyone's got their strengths and everyone's got their weaknesses. And I have learned that not everyone can multitask well, or there's limits. And so with the playbook, it gives you lists of like checklists and things that you can write down and refer to, because some people like to write things down or need a visual, maybe they're visual learners, and some can just do it second nature. And for me, I can multitask anything and everything, and getting creative, that's my strength. I can quiz my child on a spelling test while I'm cooking dinner, and something like that. Like, you can get creative with how you do things, and not everyone can do that. Some people just have to focus on a task or they'll never get done. So really understanding your strengths, and also giving tools on, I have like an hourglass, like a sand that you just tip it over, and it's a 10-minute hourglass. So if I know I'm going to go on social media, I'll flip it over and I'll say 10 minutes. When that thing is up, I am done. So it kind of keeps my day moving. And so putting like a visual in place or some sort of timer to kind of help move it along so you're not getting lost. And it's just a matter of what system works for you, and not everyone's system is going to be the same. But multitasking is definitely an art, and moms don't realize how much we do. And I think that when someone says I don't multitask or can't, they might just not realize that they are in some places. And it might not be the most sufficient way. You might have to separate it out and put more intention behind it to get things done.
And I think I think you're definitely right when I say I can't multitask. Looking through your the playbook, especially with checklist, there's things that you accomplish that maybe you don't recognize from yourself, and a lot of people, to some, the checklist are incidental. It's nice to have checklists, but checklists can be very powerful. So if we can get a little bit into the psychology of it, because I know there's some people. My wife is one of them. I think there's something there's a little dopamine button that goes off once you're able to check something off that you've done. How important is that, and what's the psychological benefits and the improvement of productivity and efficiency by using the checklist?
So I think with checklists, people like to be told what to do. That takes all the questions out. Like if that's what's on the list, that's what needs to be done, or that's the way, like the order, or that's just kind of the goals, right? So it's written out, it's set in stone, so to speak, and you have a roadmap, and it's expectations visually that you can follow. And then what's great about it is when you get something done, you're not only physically checking it off, but you can mentally check it off, because if you can't mentally release it, you're still thinking about it and you can't be present for the next task. And so it's a psychological thing to where it's like, it's done. I can check it off in my head too. So now I can release it and go on to the next thing and not wonder, oh, should I have done it this way or that way? Guess what? It got done. It's checked. I can review it later and see maybe if I could do it better. But for the most part, it's at least a physical and mental reminder, and it keeps it going. For me, out of sight, out of mind is huge. So I can't look at clutter and concentrate. It's like, oh my gosh, I have got to go tackle that right now. But if it's behind a closed door, I know it's there, but I don't have to do it right now. And so knowing how you function and then putting it on the list saying, I need to tackle this, and putting it on a priority list. So I always say to put like your 3 top priorities, non-negotiables, and then your 3 next things. Get the non-negotiables first and then move on. And whatever you don't get done by the end of the time that you've just decided that you're going to do it till, you move it up to non-negotiables for the next day. So does it keep getting kicked down the road? And then at least in your mental space, you're like, okay, I didn't get to it. That's okay. Look at everything I did get done. So you see all your check marks you did, 4 versus 6. And you don't have to say, oh man, I didn't get to that today. It's, I got this stuff done. I'm going to get this done tomorrow, and turning it into a positive. And then kind of looking at it saying like, how did that, how did it work? Like, could I have done that better? Maybe next time I'm going to do this first and then this, because it makes more sense. And how did it make me feel about getting that stuff done? And positively, reinforcing yourself that you got those 4 things, and not getting on yourself for not getting everything done.
I think that right there is probably a game changer for feeling like your life is reactive versus proactive, because at the end of the day, you can actually get that sense of accomplishment regardless of what it is, but you can actually feel like, okay, I got something done, because I know there's so many days that you feel like, gosh, I got nothing done today. But
you're busy. Like you spun your wheels all day and you felt like you had no time to take a breath. And then you sit down and you're like, I feel like I got nothing done.
Yeah,
you didn't have anything written down, or maybe you didn't have a plan and stuck to it. So then you just feel like you let yourself down and a day is lost.
Yeah.
Which is no way to go to bed,
Stacking BBs, that's what I call it. A whole lot of activity with nothing actually accomplished. Yeah.
It's kind of like I've got kitchen chairs. We moved into a new house and we got chairs, and I haven't built them yet. And so when I was trying to tackle them, I had like 4 of them, because it came in a set of 2. I would say, all right, I'm going to get 1 box done today. I'm not going to worry that I didn't get them all done. My goal is to get 2 chairs built and then be happy. And then after those 2 chairs are built, I'm going to go move on to something else, and I'm just going to put that on my list. So yes, it's going to take me longer to get those chairs built, but at least I know they're still not sitting in the box, sitting there like, I wish I would just get those done. You're chunking it. You're chipping away at it little by little. So you're, achieving your goal and getting closer to it at just a slower pace. But at least you can kind of, give yourself a pat on the back saying that you took action.
Well, I've got to bring up the fact that, to say that you are a busy mom, I think is a tremendous understatement. Besides your coaching, with, Chaos and Cookies, right? You're also a certified coach, virtual fitness and a nutrition program. And I want to come back to that because I know that's a really important thing, but you're also, you write a column for a local neighborhood magazine where you're teaching your community different fun hacks to be more self-sufficient with household tasks like we're talking about. You have your own podcast, the Chaos and Cookies podcast, which is really ranked to the top 100, I think number 80 in the parenting on the USA charts. So to say, I guess you're busy, like I say, is a tremendous understatement. So to go back to the health part, how, I know it's important, but how do you get people to prioritize? Because I know that's something that falls to the bottom of the list for a lot of people when they're really busy. So how do you fit that in? And not just fit it in, but prioritize it, because I know that's a priority with you. How do you make that fit with people?
So I kind of go back to that non-negotiable. So if everyone's got their thing, everyone's got the things that are important to them that they know make them better mentally or physically. And so for me personally, when I gauge it, my routine was when I took the kids to school, I'd come home, I'd work out, get it done, and then I was good for the day. And it set my day up because I got my workout in. I can start the day with like a healthier mindset. When that starts to slip and I can't get it in, and I'm now kind of like I've got less energy, or I'm noticing that like I'm scheduling my work stuff in the window of my workout, I have to take it to where I step back and say, okay, I've now pushed my non-negotiable kind of far down the list, and that's not okay. I need to get back to it and making those shifts of I'm going to do this. I'm committing to myself, and I know that I'm better. I'm happier. I'm not getting down on myself because I didn't get my workout in, because if it's not done by like noon, I know I'm just not going to get it done, and knowing what your limitations are and working within those. Because if you know you're not going to work out at 7:00 at night, or if you know that you're not going to work out at 7 a.m, you're a night owl, to make sure that you are working within those parameters to deliver and to set yourself up for success. So health and wellness, meal planning and meal prepping, that all takes time. So carving out that and making it easier by whether that's using a tool like a chopper in your kitchen or using a really simple cookbook to kind of help that process. It just finding ways to save yourself some time and making that process a little bit easier so you don't feel like you're negotiating on your non-negotiable.
Well, yeah. And so I think what I want to do is go back into, you're originally, discovering all this, because I know that there's a story, that I'd like you to expand on, if you wouldn't mind. And, it's around you folding laundry in your car. All right. Yeah. Now to me, I don't know, call me crazy, but that sounds kind of like multitasking.
Yes.
That may not be the great way to do it. So talk about the kind of that moment and how it evolved into kind of what you're doing now.
So that was a happy accident, honestly. So when the pandemic happened, I wasn't able to keep on like our sitter that would come and like help me. It was like a mommy helper. She would at least come and help me maintain the kids' laundry and stuff like that, because my husband was always out. So she was like a pseudo spouse. Like I would just rely on us kind of getting things done together, because my husband, we never knew if he was going to be here or there because of just his schedule. And so when pandemic happened, of course, you couldn't have people come in and out. Everyone was, my husband's business kind of stalled for a little while because his clients in a hotel chain. So no one was traveling. So it was like a big old halt. And so I found myself not having extra help other than my husband, who had never really done much before. And I had all this laundry that I couldn't just leave for someone to help me fold later. Before I could leave it, be like, all right, I know I'm going to have help doing this later. But then I was like, oh, if I leave it there, like it's going to stay there until I can do it because I have no one coming in, and my husband's not going to fold laundry because he's too busy working or picking up the slack on other things like cooking dinner or something. So I was folding laundry. I set an alarm at 2:30 to remind myself that my kids have to go get picked up from school because time can just fly. Though I don't want to be that person that forgets their kid at school. And so I have an alarm it still goes off today and it's summer, but it's like, oh, it's time to go do school pickup. So my alarm goes off. I'm like knee deep in laundry folding, and laundry is my kryptonite. I don't like doing it. I feel like it's a time sucker because you have to sit in one place and fold laundry. You can't get other stuff done while you do it. Like the multitask in me is like, oh my gosh, just like getting nails done. I can't do anything else because I have to sit there with my hands tied. So my alarm goes off. I have these 3 baskets of laundry that need to be folded. And I was like, oh, I got to stop what I'm doing. I have to go get my kids, and I got to come back and then try and finish it. And then of course they're going to jump all over it or find a newfound love for a shirt that's in there and then unfold everything. And so I was like, you know what? Screw it. So I grab the laundry basket full of clothes and I said, all right, I picked it up and walked out the door and put it in my front seat because when you go pick kids up, you have to sit in a carpool lane, and we weren't able to like get out the car and go get them. We had to have our sign. They radioed into the school because of the pandemic. So I sat there for, I don't know, a good 30 minutes just sitting in park in the line waiting till school got out. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to fold laundry. I'm sitting in one space. I could either be piddling around on my phone, looking at social media, getting nothing done, or I can fold my laundry. And so I folded this I took a picture of myself and posted it on my social. And I got up to the carpool lane where I rolled the window down, told them my child's name. And I had 2 people. The first person that did the first check-in looked inside and was like, is that your laundry, ma'am? And I said, yeah, I just got a whole basket folded. And he goes, that's just genius. Like, you have to sit there anyway. Might as well fold laundry. I was like, yeah, I guess so. And so then the second person was another guy. It was actually another guy, and he was a dad. And he's like, I got to tell my wife about this. This is just, why not do it in your car? And so now a lot of clients of mine or people tag me on social, like with their laundry baskets. That's the only place they fold laundry now because you're sitting in one spot, just waiting in one spot, get some laundry done. Then you go home and it's folded. You could either send it with your children. Hey, go put this away while you go put your other stuff away. Or now all it needs to do is just be put away, and I can spend time with my kids instead of saying, hey, I need to finish the laundry real quick before I can jump into whatever it is that we want to do. So it kind of solved a bunch of problems.
Well, yeah. And I think that is, and I think, is that kind of the genesis of you figuring out, other people can benefit from this, that, what was the point or the moment where you realized that, this is something that could really help a lot of people, these little things that I do, these systems. When at what point did you actually call it a system and think, oh, this is something that could be applied to a lot of people?
I think it was just being smarter, not harder, and really getting creative with the tasks that you need to finish, because we only have so many hours in the day. And then, if you have to go do school pickup, or if you have an appointment, like your time is like, you have until that time. And so if you're trying to get things done, you need to put some sort of system in place. And if you need to get creative on how you're going to get it done, that's also kind of fun, and you feel accomplished. It's rewarding on all ends. And so I just thought, well, if I'm the only one, I can't be the only one who hates laundry, because we live out of our laundry baskets, or, you fluff and fold 16 million times because you forget about, the laundry. And I think I was like, well, if I have this issue and I don't like it, I'm sure others do too. And moms with kids have, and like we do loads of laundry every single day, especially with little ones, and it gets a little tiresome. So why not, fold it in the car while you're sitting, or if you're a passenger and you're not doing anything, you're just sitting and looking out the window and looking at your phone, get some stuff done at the same time. So it's just kind of what were everyone else's pain points, I think. And then how can I make it better other ways too?
Well, and so let me ask you, if you don't mind, the ways that you help folks. And I know this, the family playbook that you have. I mean, gosh, I mean, just that resource alone can make a tremendous difference. But you also have, what are the ways people can access that chaos and control system? If someone wants to work with you, if someone comes to you to be a client, well, what does that look like? Is it something that you do with people one-on-one, or is it something that works in a group? Sure. Someone wants to work with you. What does that look like?
So the worst thing is to buy something like a tool that's going to make your life better and then not use it, right? So we're all busy. You think, oh my gosh, this manual sounds great, but when am I going to have the time to fill it out? Or, that's a lot to take on, and I already have so much. And maybe you'll get through like a portion of it, but it doesn't do you any good if it's not completed. So we do group calls where we have just a smaller group. I limit it. And then we kind of go through the process of like, we're going to tackle it. And it's like CHAOS. So each section is chaos, like the acronym. And we do like the calendaring, and we do like the things that are all like the norm. And I give like homework, like this is the section we're going to do. And this is the types of things you want to think about when you put into it. And so we really work through it and chunk it in, digestible pieces, so it's not so overwhelming, and you kind of work towards all of the pieces. So it's over the 3 to 6 months, depending on what kind of help you need. Some people can just go and buy it and do it themselves, but they always do come back because they're just like, I'm never going to get this done. And just trying to come up with systems and ways, like for instance, even just like the kitchen section and where you can find things. You don't want to have to open every single drawer and find like the pizza cutter, but you also want to make sure there's a system in place. So like, let's just say you're going to get a glass of water. Well, you're going to probably put that closer to the refrigerator because the ice maker and the water is there. So you're not going across the way to go get a fork or a spoon. So setting up your kitchen to almost in a functional space and then writing it down on paper. So like almost a map or a guideline for someone to be like, where does she keep the spoons? And if she, you'll ask the child like, hey, where are your spoons? Or where would she keep them? Where you think you would keep them, that person might not keep it there. And really thinking about all the different angles. So we do group coaching, and I do one-on-one as well. But I think that also brainstorming on how other moms do it really help with getting out of your own way too.
Well, I would imagine it's also a great way. People feel like they're not alone, or it's not unique to them, because that's right. What I'm sure a lot of people think, that this is my own unique problem. And I think there's probably a bit of camaraderie, I guess, when you like a little mom
club. I mean, I have the Chaos Club. That's my membership, where we do more business and systems in there, where I show them more automation and like how to, I show them around a system and say like, this is what these buttons do. That way you're not sitting there and trying to figure it out on your own. And you kind of like, oh, okay, this is where I would go. And it gives more of a visual, and it really just helps navigate it a little more and simplifies it. So they don't take the months and months and months to figure it out, because I did that. I like to understand every moving piece and then be like, this is what it does. This is how you do it. Boom, go.
Well, I have to say what you're doing is remarkable, and I'm sure has a tremendous impact on so many people, not just moms, but their families, their kids, their relationships. I mean, this touches so many parts of someone's life, and it just really is a tremendous what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I mean, honestly, like the clients that have come to me in the past have already unfortunately experienced some sort of tragedy or crisis. For instance, a client of mine, her husband had a heart attack at the pool. He was, very healthy, but had a heart attack at the pool in front, like with the kids. He had to spend some time in the hospital, and she had to then quickly become the sole parent. she had a business, he had a business, they have kids, and they had income properties and stuff. And she had to try and navigate that without also skipping a beat with her kids, trying to keep it really normal and not let them worry. And so she was like, man, if I would have just had this in place, I could have at least given the section to my sister-in-law or the accountant and say, here, this is what I need. This is where we were at. Can you help me? And not have to try and figure it out and take a lot of the stressors off. So a lot of people do come after something like that has happened. And so for me, I was trying to be proactive in case that were to happen to like my husband when he's traveling, because I think doom and gloom. What if his plane crashes? What if he gets hit by a car? What if he gets mugged? Like, who knows? You never know. I know it's crazy, but it can happen. And, or if you have your mom, for instance, has health issues and you never know if she's going to end up back in the hospital and you're the one who has to go and see to it. That doesn't mean your life at home stops, but it still needs to function. But they're not going to want to bother you either while you're in the middle of it. And so giving them a tool to be like, let's try to figure this out before we text mom and ask her like where the meatballs are, or what kind, like what brand mac and cheese my kid will eat, because maybe they didn't typically know, and try to figure it out. Very detailed, and giving everyone the tools and space to just function a little better.
Yeah, I can imagine how it could change, unexpected events that could be, so stressful, and how it can relieve so much of this stress in those situations just by having this guidebook. How can people find out more about Heather Steinker and Chaos and Cookies and all the things that you're doing, and how to follow you and get involved?
Sure. So you can chaosandcookies.com, and it's chaos with an N. No, there's no A and D in there. And the name behind it is because it's chaos. Like, I've got chaos all over. Life is chaos. And then cookies because I have 3 kids, and no matter how much you clean, there's always crumbs somewhere. So, and, they always want some sort of treat, and treat yourself to, a chaotic free home. So kind of a little bit of play. So chaosandcookies.com, you can grab, your copy there in the shop. And then you can also follow me on Instagram at Heather Steinker. And I also have at Chaos and Cookies. I have 2 accounts. Facebook, same, Heather Greco Steinker. And I'm on all the platforms, LinkedIn, all under Heather Steinker or Chaos and Cookies. So I provide help on simplifying social media and systems in the business side of things, and simplifying your home systems and organization skills too. So a little bit of everything.
Well, fantastic. And we'll put all those links there on the show notes. Heather, I got to thank you for coming on and sharing this. You truly are a very gifted educator and an advocate for the success of your followers and your clients. And it's definitely a reason I consider you a influencer. So thank you for coming on today.
Oh, thank you so much, Jack, for having me. This was so much fun, and I appreciate it.
All right, folks, there you have it. I definitely recommend, regardless if you're a mom, a dad, that anyone that, if you're running a household, the Heather systems are just tremendous way to get things organized, and not just, reduce the clutter, physical clutter in your house, but reduce the clutter in your mind, which can make such a big difference on your mental and ultimately your physical health. So definitely check it out. chaosandcookies.com, chaosnCookies.com. I definitely don't have a problem spelling cookies. So until next time on Influencers Radio, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today.